Hi SD fans and welcome back. After the mask and regulator cleaning videos, in this one we thought we'd look at cleaning your BCD after a dive trip. Now BCDs, whether that's a jacket style, rear inflate or a backplate and wing, are the chassis on which the rest of your scuba setup is mounted, and they provide buoyancy during the dive and on the surface, so you want to know that they're in tip-top condition. As with the mask and regs, I'll show you my regular routine after I've been diving. For those here for the first time, my name's Mark, I'm the Editor-in-Chief of the Scuba Diver media brand, and welcome to the Scuba Diver YouTube channel. Remember to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our future videos, and ring that bell so you get notification of the latest releases. Don't forget to check out below how you get a free digital subscription to any of our magazines: Scuba Diver UK, Scuba Diver Australia and New Zealand, and Scuba Diver Destinations, which is our US and Canada edition. And if you want to get your hands on a print version, we've got a special subscription deal for our YouTube followers. Now, let's dive into that video. Right, BCD cleaning. Now, when you're at the dive resort, they have nice big rinse tanks for giving all of your BCD a clean and everything, but when you're at home, we don't have that to hand. So you've got a few options. You can either use your bathtub, but the downside of that is you then have to bring your wet gear down through the house to put out to dry, so that's not ideal. You can use a water butt. Just take the lid off, it's always full of water, so that works. I used to do that at my old house. The other option is, this is my plastic case for transporting my dive kit to and from the dive site. All my wet gear stays inside so that you don't get water all over the back of your car, but it also doubles up as a handy rinse tank. So all I've done here is just filled it up with some fresh water, and then you're good to go. Now it's important to note that what I'm suggesting here is for people who bought their own equipment and are just wanting to keep their BCD in as good condition as possible. This isn't the likes of dive centres and stuff like that, because they're more used to looking after equipment, sterilising it and everything when it's going to be used by multiple people. So this is purely aimed at the recreational diver looking after their own piece of kit. So, fresh water in the tank. Get your BCD. Get it dunked in. Make sure all of it gets under the water. What I tend to do is I will put it in like this, get it all wet, and then I will leave it for 20 minutes, half an hour, and it will just have a good soak. So when you come back, you can always get a toothbrush or something like that and get in and around all the power inflator buttons, around your D-rings, around the pinch clips, just any areas where any salt crystals might have got stuck if you've been in salt water. Now, to be fair, your BCD is not going to be absolutely filthy. It's just more going to have been wet or wet and then got salt crystals dried on it if you've been in salt water. So this is really just to get any of that out of your BCD's material and out of the inner workings and stuff. So, get that done. What I then tend to do is take off the pull dump valve. Now this is twofold. One, you can get the fresh water into that mechanism, make sure that that's all nice and clean. But two, you can now actually get the fresh water inside the bladder itself. So sink that in there, make sure you get plenty of fresh water into that bladder. You can then give that a good slosh around so it gets through all the different nooks and crannies in the bladder. I like to hold it up and let it drain out of the inflator hose as well to make sure it's all gone up through here. Now, that's what I tend to do after a week-long trip. Every 3 or 4 months perhaps, I will add something like Milton or another sterilising solution into this water. Not so much for the outside, it's for inside the bladder. So I'll get that sterilising solution inside the bladder, give it a good slosh around again, and then give it another rinse out with fresh water, and then just hang it up to dry. So that's it, we've got it out of its rinse bucket and everything. You've now got a couple of options really. You can either unclip these if you've got a BCD that's got the clips and everything, fling the arms over something like my makeshift hanging racks here, and then hang it to dry. Now the other option is to get a BCD hanger. They're cheap and cheerful and they work whatever you've got, whether you've got a one-piece harness or this. There. Now what I tend to do is leave the bladder while it's drying, is leave the bladder just very slightly inflated. Stops it all sticking together inside, but it also will just helps it all to dry, keeps everything separate. What I do is I will leave that open at this point so you can get any last final bits of water out. Leave it to dry. There'll be some water still left in that last little bit in the bladder. You can empty that out right at the final minute. And basically just leave that out, let it fully dry, and then be ready to store and ready for your next diving adventure. I always tend to leave a small amount of air in my BCD when I store it, just so that it's not completely flat. But if you can keep doing this sort of thing, you will prolong the life of your gear substantially. Regardless of where you are on the planet, it's worth having your BCD serviced periodically. Now, I'm not suggesting yearly necessarily, as it does depend on how much you're diving, but it's probably worth getting your local dive centre to give it the once over at least every couple of years. Giving your BCD a thorough rinse and dry, as I've demonstrated, will help prolong its lifespan significantly, but it's good to have the power inflator inspected and, if possible, serviced. Although these are not that expensive, and my advice is if you're having any issues with a power inflator, just replace it with a new one. As I said in my last video, here in the UK, we are anxiously awaiting the end of this month, when diving will be able to resume around our shoreline and at inland dive sites. So if your BCD has been languishing in your garage, maybe think about getting it checked out at your local dive centre before hitting the water for the first time in 2021. The benefits are twofold. You'll know your BCD is not going to give you any problems once you resume diving, and you'll be supporting your local centre at a time when they need it the most. What are some of your hints and advice regarding maintaining your BCD? Leave your comments below, and if you have a question, fire away. We can't answer, maybe someone in our community will be able to. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget, you can grab a free digital magazine subscription in the description below. As always, stay safe, and if you're one of the lucky people who live somewhere that you're able to get out and dive right now, enjoy.